Hello there, welcome to JRT Reviews. I'm JRT and this is a review. Well, not really. Normally this would be how I start a video. Today I'm not actually reviewing one album, I'm kind of going over everything I've looked at so far this year. Somehow we're halfway through this year, if you can call it a year. It feels like purgatory. There's been quite a bit of music. I've listened to quite a bit of music. I think it's around 100 projects so far. Some have been quite nice, I've enjoyed quite a bit of it. Some I haven't, and unfortunately that's where we're going to start today, with the projects I wasn't a big fan of. In order to make it more manageable and to hit that sweet YouTube algorithm, we're going to view them in chunks. Firstly, the lower end of the spectrum. Now, just so you know what my scale is, it's a 0 to 10 scale with 0.5 ratings, so 20 possible scores. Now, starting in the middle, 5 is a totally average project. Bland, inoffensive, not really worth re-listening to. It isn't necessarily bad, might just not be my cup of tea, or I just didn't think there was much of a merit, but still not an awful project. There might be one or two songs I come back to and listen to. Now, 4s and 6 are very similar, they're just obviously one slightly more positive, one slightly more negative. 6 is a project I enjoyed more than I disliked, and 4 being the opposite way around. 3 or 4 songs of a project I might get a 6, or like again, it might not be my cup of tea, but I can see it's technically, like the production values, the talent wise, it is a good album, but just didn't connect with me, or I just didn't feel it. Kind of makes sense. Now, continuing positively, 7 is a good project that I enjoyed. Not exactly a recommendation, but a recommendation if you like that specific genre, want to listen to something new, and I'd probably go back and re-listen to it again this year and possibly in the future, but that's more reserved for 8s. And 8 is a recommendation. This is very good. This is near the top of its field in the genre, and it's worth a listen no matter what sort of music you're into. Now, 9 is a must listen, but any sort of music fan, very rarely do I hand them out, to be honest. 9 is a must listen. If I liked it, you'll like it, okay? 10s are rare, but indicate perfection, or near perfection, or whatever is humanly possible. But anyway, on the lower end of the scale, more negative, 0 is something that is quite literally pointless, So there's nothing to it artistically, musically, technically. It's just pointless. You gain nothing from listening to it. There's no point to it, to put it bluntly. And 1s or 2s quite similar, but there's something that redeems it. Either one song or ideas or a concept, or there's some decent production on the project. But 1 is a very rare score and a very harsh score. Same with 2s. There's again 1 or 2 songs or an idea that I appreciate, but overall I'm not going to come back to that project at all, really, bar 1 song if it was good, and that's rarely the case, especially on the ones we're going to look at. 3s are basically albums I disliked and wouldn't return to as well. However, the concept and the execution was better than the 1 and 2. Half scores the in between, so like 7.5, 3.5, is just a stronger feeling of the base score. So there's enough to it that almost bumps up to the next bracket, but I just didn't quite feel it. Now that's out of the way. In terms of LPs, the lowest score I've dished out this year is a 2.5, twice. Nav's Good Intentions is an album title I will not make a pun out of, despite how easy it is. This album is the epitome of formulaic trap rap, which really does nothing for me. As we'll see later on in this video, trap rap this year hasn't really caught my attention or offered anything new, in my opinion. But where other projects were just bland, inoffensive, and just consistently boring, this feels like I'm not in on a joke or something. Like, there's something I should be getting, but I'm not. The appeal, I just don't see it. It's lazy in its repetitive beats and bars and productions. It's just so samey. It's kind of like being in prison and being given the same porridge meal every day for breakfast. It counts as food, I guess. The mixtape that came out alongside it should have been kept in the drafts. And overall, I just want my time back, to be honest. In total, I listened to both projects numerous times. I think it's 3 or 4 times each. And they are like hour long. It feels like it. I can't remember how long. I think it's like hour and 40 or something. I just want my time back. And the only thing I really learnt from it was I just can't stand Nav. I just can't stand it. He just offers nothing to me worth going back to listen to. I've listened to his previous work, nothing. So forgettable that going into this, I thought I was listening to the second album again. There's a slight improvement, but just nothing really worth in terms of other trap rap, where the bar is low anyway. There's so many better, marginally better, but better rap acts out there. Like even Future and Gunna, whose albums will come on later in this, I preferred, because it's just safe, just nothing to it. On the other side of taking up my precious time was the legendary band Green Day's latest effort. Thank God this project is over in 26 minutes. From an album so defined as marketing that it wasn't formulaic pop or trap rap, didn't have any Swedish producers, it was just 100% pure uncut rock or something. It's so formulaic. It's just so bland pop rock that I don't know why. Like, I saw a rumour that maybe they're just trying to get out of a contract churn out albums, get out of a contract, but still it's your image and your brand that's attached to this. Like I said, the whole no Swedish songwriters, no formulaic shit. The first opening track sounds like a deaf person trying to recreate a Portugal the Man song. Awful vocal manipulation, annoyingly repetitive guitar, and those claps, those fucking claps, just... The rest of the album is just bad. I'm just kind of trying to push it out of my head. 2.5, maybe generous. I do go back and review my scores, so that might get an adjustment, but I can't say I really don't want to go back to that project anytime soon, or even for my end of year worst albums list. Another big name here as we enter the threes, starting with Justin Bieber's Changes. It's just like the Green Day album, the first track kind of sums up the entire experience. It's a pop song without a chorus. Justin Bieber, king of formulaic pop songs that dominate the radio, he forgets the chorus. It just has no progression. It just starts and stops. It's a straight line of just bland guitar with no progression, no real change or anything to make it interesting. It's just so samey. It's not a negative on its own for a pop song not to have a chorus. I think it's quite interesting if you can make a payoff, but you got to do something else with the song rather than just let it continue. How one of the largest perpetrators of formulaic pop can't get a simple song right just boggles me, just utterly leaves me confused. The rest of the album just kind of follows suit. There's some better moments on it, but no, bad, don't like it. 3.5, get out of the way. Another album that sees a band bring nothing new to the table is the new Courteeners, always get their name wrong. Let's just say the album name just describes them as a band. More, again, forever. It's just the same old thing that's repeated. It's bland, it's repetitive, and it's kind of like they're trying to hark back to their heyday. But if you remember the heyday of British indie, Courteeners were nowhere near the Cooks, the Wombats, Pigeon Detectives, Arctic Monkeys. There's so many other bands that I just place above them before I even think of the Courteeners. I can't even get their name right half the time. I forget it. I keep on thinking it's the Courteeners. The only reason you listen to this is if you hate yourself, get off on torture, you just really like one-hit wonder bands. Or if you're a Courteeners fan, if you exist. Lil Yachty's latest album just seems to me he's just throwing in yet another uninspiring project. He just doesn't seem to care. It just lacks the enthusiasm that made his earlier work not just horrible but exciting and worth listening to. Just now it's just, again, that bloated trap rap sound. His entire album is forgettable, I just put it that way. The only memorable moments are the tracks that include heavy features. Just at times it just feels like Lil Yachty's not even on his own album. He's just there. He just happened to be the one funding it all. Off into the fours now. Again, trap rap. I do enjoy trap rap. Earlier trap rap, and I can get behind it. It's a fine genre. It's just that at the moment it is the zeitgeist, it is the number one. It's just that at the moment it is the number one genre in rap, which is the most popular sort of music in the world at the moment. So of course there's just going to be so many people just trying to chuck their ideas on and suit what's popular, and it just doesn't really work. Now, Future may be higher for life on his latest album, but I'm certainly not getting withdrawal symptoms from not listening to it. Like I said with Nav, with Lil Yachty, the Gunna album, which I'll talk about in a second, bland, repetitive, just even the Drake mix hit that dropped earlier this year fell on the same track where I think you could get up, walk away whilst the album's playing, do every chore in the house to come back, and it will sound like the exact same song. Offers nothing new to me. And I get at the moment it's the most popular genre, and there's definitely an audience for it. I think all these albums that I'm saying are bad, I think they at least were top 10 in both the US and the UK. There clearly is an audience for it. These artists will do better than I ever will off of it. Money-wise, fame-wise, just life-wise. He's just credit, he helped form this specific sound, this genre, helped created it, but he's ironically killing it at the same time. It just, again, like, if you like trap rap, yeah, go listen to it. You might enjoy it. I didn't. 4. Now, onto pop. Another big name, Meghan Trainor's latest project was the constantly delayed Treat Myself, which should have just been permanently scrapped. Just, I don't know why they decided to release it. In the end, I personally think the window of opportunity is kind of shut, unfortunately for her. And normally the pop industry is quite ruthless and will just scrap an artist that didn't get to capitalise on time. There's some interesting beats on this, but then they're quickly ruined by either average or just below average singing. I just don't understand what audience or niche Trainor serves anymore, like what she's going for, because there's just other artists that do it better than her. There's nothing new, no new ideas she brings to warrant keeping an eye on her or anything. It's bland, it's safe, it's just so... It's kind of like you've eaten every pop song ever written by a female, ever performed by a female pop star, just regurgitated back out, and like you put like a few people like funk funk. Let's put a funky bass line on it. Which, yeah, was interesting briefly before it gets ruined with some like subpar production. It's just not worth listening unless you're related to Meghan Trainor, somehow make money off of listening to Meghan Trainor, or you're a pop fan that's literally run out of any other albums this year to listen to. At the other end of the pop spectrum, in more synth pop pioneers, the Pet Shop Boys, they're still out. They've released 2 projects this year. This is their LP. I've not got a chance to listen to their EP. But imagine the Pet Shop Boys. Imagine what they're up to in 2020. That's the album. Yeah, it exists. Fair play to them. They built a career on their sound and they continue their sound. Nothing new really. It's got probably the worst track of the year so far for me. Weddings in Berlin, which has a synth pop house track beat, which then samples the wedding march for a wedding. It is atrocious. It's atrocious. Lyrically, it's let's get married because we love each other. Why else would you get married apart from a green card? Like, what brilliant insight. It is just so childlike from the Pet Shop Boys. I enjoy the Pet Shop. Their earlier work, veterans that they know. Yes, they may be a bit camp with their lyrics and a bit cheesy, but this isn't cheesy, it's just a 5-year-old. It's a 5-year-old. There's a difference between simple, funny lyrics and let's get married because I love you. Yeah, I will at some point listen to their EP. I'm not looking forward to it. If it was from the same recording studio sessions as this, again, listen to it if you like the Pet Shop Boys because they haven't really changed their sound at all. The final 4.5 is the new Gunna album. It's trap rap, so you kind of know what I'm going to say, but this is, I think, what I'm talking about when I think about the most formulaic trap rap at the moment. It's Gunna. His last project, Dribble Drown 2. It's better than that. He's improved. It doesn't send me to sleep necessarily. It just, when I listen to it, I'm here and the music's here and I never really connect with it. It exists and does its own thing. I exist and do my own thing. If I zone out, I've listened to the project I think 5 times now. If I zone out, I feel like I haven't missed much. Overall, just a waste of time. Again, I can't knock it because he's made more money off of that project than I'll ever see in my own life. I just don't understand the appeal, and it's not just the appeal, just technically, it's just, there are skills, the production's just fine. It's nothing like, there's no beats I'm like, wow, I wish a better rapper was on here. Anyway, that brings a close to my negative reviews so far the year. Next time we'll look at quite a few projects I enjoyed this year. For the most part, luckily there's been more music I liked than I disliked. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit through this, and hopefully you'll join me for the next batch of reviews. If you like this, prepare for more by subscribing and liking the video. Thank you very much. Stay safe.